Welcome to Truckers Voices Podcast. Your host, Tim Taylor, and co-host, Steve Brand. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
This is Danny Smith. Just calling to tell you how much I appreciate listening to your show, Truckers Voices. It's very informative. I really like hearing the drivers' stories, how they got into the trucking industry and maybe what kind of trucks they started out with. And it's just been a lot of fun. And I would encourage any drivers out there to tune in and listen, call in, be a part of it. It's a great show. Thanks.
Hi, this is Scott Post, and I love Truckers' Voices because there's always something entertaining and educational for our industry. And it's also hosted by two of my good friends, Tim Taylor and Steve Brand. Tune in tonight. And in the meantime, be safe out there.
Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? My name's Charlie Demchuk, and I'm here to welcome you to tonight's big show. Y'all sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Tim and Steve got a good one in store for you. So have a good night. We'll see ya.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's doing good out there today. I hope y'all had a good day of trucking today. I tell you what, this guy right here did. Hey, I went up there to my destination, come back, got home safe. As I always say, hey, a good day getting back through that door is a successful day. You know, trucking out there, it's not getting any easier on us. We have to be on our guard all the time. And I'm just going to encourage everybody to keep being on your guard while you're trucking out there, because every day that we come home and every mile marker that we drive, I'm talking mile marker to mile marker driving and safe driving, it all adds up. So anyway, I appreciate what everybody does. I appreciate you tuning in to Truckers Voices Podcast tonight. Let me remind everybody that hey, you can go back and you can watch these podcasts or listen to these podcasts, so to speak, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and on what's the other one on Spotify. We're on Spotify also. But you know what? I'm gonna quit talking because I've got a guest for y'all tonight. We got a gentleman out of the West Texas area. His name is Johnny Loewen, and he can correct me if I'm not pronouncing his name right when I bring him on the air there. But he hauls some heavy equipment out there. I watch him on TikTok. He's on TikTok at Johnny Trucker. At Johnny O Trucker or Johnny Trucker. I'm sorry. I put Johnny O Trucker the other day on the TikTok, but it's Johnny Trucker at Johnny Trucker. Y'all need to go check him out. Y'all need to go follow him because he's got a good positive message when he puts his videos out there. But anyway, without further ado, let me bring my co-host in here, and I'm gonna get Steve in here to say something. Y'all know Steve. Those of y'all that know Steve, y'all know he don't talk much.
Hello, Tim. Hello, everybody. I'm still getting used to these earphones, headphones, whatever you call them. Having trouble hearing myself. Don't want to talk too loud. Don't want to talk too soft. And like you said, I'm usually lost for words. I don't have a whole lot to say, But hey, I had a good day of trucking myself.
Steve, I tell you what, man. Every day's a good day of trucking. I mean, you know what? I like what I do. How about you?
Oh, I love what I do. I always say a good day at trucking is better than a good day at work any day.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Hey, we have the best view at our job than anybody can have. It's ever changing. You never know what you're going to see. And you know what? the things that we're doing, we keep America moving forward.
Exactly. And we do it safely.
That's right.
Do it safely. And, I may not be able to talk to each one of these, but I try to lead by example. Try to drive as safe as I can, always use that turn signal, and just lead by example. Slow down, take your time. It's all good.
That's right. That's right. Well, Steve, we got a guest waiting in the virtual green room there, and let's not belabor the point. Let's bring him in here. I'm trying to add it to the screen here. The welcome sign there. We're going to welcome Johnny Loewen. And Johnny, if I spelled your name wrong, you can kind of correct me there. I hope I didn't. But anyway, he's going to tell us a little bit about himself, how he got into trucking. And y'all know how we always do. We just have a good conversation. Hey, so everybody knows there's no scripted question that Steve and I ever use. It's just a conversation between some truck drivers. So without further ado, let me bring Johnny on in here. Johnny, how you doing?
Doing great. How are y'all?
Oh man, we're doing good. It's good to have you on Truckers Voices tonight. I think that it was a good catch to get you on here. I like what you do on TikTok, and let me go ahead and say this up front here. What attracted me to your videos and what you do every day and keeps me following you is your positive message that you put out there.
I appreciate that, brother, but that's just Christ in me. I'm trying to shine the light out. So
absolutely. And you know what? That's what we're called to do, is to shine a light into a dark world. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. We are living in some dark times these days.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
Most definitely. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let Steve say hey to you and introduce him, and then we'll just get right on into it.
How you doing, Johnny? Pleasure to meet you.
Right back at you, sir.
Looking forward to finding out some good information and, see what trucking's like out there in West Texas.
Yes, sir. Well, it's full as usual. We got a lot of oil field traffic around here, but as you guys said, to do it safely is the challenge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Johnny, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little bit of background, and we'll just go from there.
Okay. Well, I am 34 years old, happily married. My wife normally comes with me in the truck. We do a lot of oversized, overweight loads. So she is my navigator, and I absolutely love her for it. She reads the permits, tells me where to go, and I'm a pretty good follower. So we do this together, and we absolutely love it.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead, finish. Uh-oh. Steve is muted. Who muted?
Go. I
Steve,
hit the wrong. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I unmuted it. Did you mute yourself?
I must have. I don't know. I need to keep my hands off the mouse. Whereabouts are you located, Johnny? Where do you run? What areas do you?
Okay. Home base is a little town of Seminole, Texas. We are just off the outskirts of where oil field country is, with Midland, Odessa, Pecos, Monahans areas. So there's quite a bit of oil field country around here. Also a lot of farming. So there's some huge industries out here, and my family works in the water well business, and I was in the water well business too. We are first generation trucker now. The reason we jumped into this is because my father, my dad, he buys and sells a lot of water well equipment and also oil field. So the reason we jumped into it was we were having a hard time hiring people to get the stuff home, and so basically we wanted to fill that hole and see if we could do it. So we jumped in head first and got into being owner operator. Probably back in, let's see, we opened Blessings Food Truck in 2017. So we do food truck too on weekends when we're home, but then during the week it's normally trucking. This year we haven't done any food truck other than one wedding catering, but that's due to we have a little miracle baby on the way, and absolutely excited for it.
Congratulations!
Thank you, appreciate that.
Now let me ask you this question. And I actually seen a video to where I kind of scrolled through some of your videos I hadn't seen before earlier today. And I seen that part where you're talking about the miracle baby there. And tell us the meaning behind the miracle baby, if you don't mind sharing.
Oh no, not at all. All right, so we are married. Well, it's close to 13 years now. 12 years being married. The first couple of years we decided we were going to wait with starting a family, and then after a little while we ended up getting a bigger place. We said, hey, let's see if we can have a family, and things just never happened. We kept trying, and at the same time we never did go to the doctor with any of this. We said, hey, if the Lord wants us to have a little child, He's going to give it to us. And so, to get a little deeper, I did not have permission from my wife for this, but my wife never had a menstrual cycle. This whole time while we were trucking, worked absolutely great, not having that cycle. But at the same time, it's bad for the woman, obviously. On her 30th birthday in October 30th is her birthday, she got her period back.
Miracle.
Miracle right there on her birthday. And so then we're like, hey, this might actually happen all of a sudden one day. Then we ended up buying a Bronco. Actually, we ordered the Bronco on her birthday also. And then the thing is always telling us to check the back seat for car seats. Well, then we're laughing like, hey, what if that actually did happen one of these days? And lo and behold, we got a little miracle baby on the way, due on December 21st. So we could have it right at Christmas. We don't quite know.
Oh,
wow. So we are so excited for that.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
The Lord, when we pray about things, He doesn't answer prayers in our time. And you know that. He answers at His time. So there's reasons for everything. And man, I tell you what, that's exciting. And I'm glad you said that, Wugga, because I wanted to ask you about that, So,
yes,
so let's get back to trucking here. You gave me a little insight the other day about yourself and your family when you was growing up, and you told me that you are of German descent, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So of German descent, how did you get? And you told me that y'all lived in Mexico there for a little while. So how did you get over into Mexico?
So my parents we were doing all right out here in the U.S., but we have quite a bit of family that still lives in Mexico. Some of them live in South America, actually. And I never actually asked them why they wanted to move away, but we ended up selling everything, moved down there for 3 years, came back completely broke. And since then we've been rebuilding it and the business, and the Lord's just been blessing it. So yeah, it's I'm grateful for those 3 years, most definitely. I got to learn a little bit of Spanish. Trying to hold on to that, but that's difficult. So
well, that's cool. And speaking to that, and you said you got, and I noticed sometimes whenever you'll say something every now and again in your videos, in Spanish or something like that. I don't know what, because I don't know what you're saying, but anyway, that's pretty cool. That is absolutely pretty cool. And I tell you what, and you have a really interesting story, and I do like the Christian background that you have. Myself and Steve, we both have a good Christian background, and I appreciate it. I heard you saying earlier about me being positive, and I am. I try to be positive. I try to find the good in everything. We live in times that are rough, and you know what? There's no use for us to glorify the bad stuff. We need to glorify the one who makes us every day, that makes it for us every day, because it is a blessing. And speaking of trucking is a blessing to me. I love what I do. I've been doing it for over 30 years now, and I can't see myself ever doing anything else. I mean, I probably got about 10 or 15 more years in the industry. But you said that you were 34. I have a son that's 32. So what got you into trucking? I mean, how? Let me put it this way. Let me back up on the question there. How did you start trucking? Where did you get your training from?
All right. Well, I had never actually planned on getting my CDLs necessarily. But one day my dad comes in and he says, "Hey, you need to go get your CDLs." And I said, "Okay." We work in the family business. And so I went and filled out the test. I made one, failed the rest of them, failed the rest of them miserably. And then I decided to go ahead and study. Uh, Studied for the tests, went, made them. And that was just the beginning where I had to get those to drive these water well rigs. You don't necessarily need them. Some DOT say yes, some say no, due to it being a agricultural. And but I ended up getting them for insurance reasons. Then he started buying stuff, and I started hauling it in. For a while, we had another trucking company that we worked with quite a bit. They hauled our stuff in, but as we were growing, our equipment was getting bigger and bigger also. That company wanted to stay with that equipment there, and so we ended up buying our own equipment and just been growing slowly, getting bigger and bigger equipment as we can, and getting that stuff hauled in safely and also hauled out. So that initially it was just hauling for my pops, and then eventually there was more and more customers that started calling, "Hey, can you haul a rig from here and here for me?" And we ended up setting up the LLC for to be able to haul for others, and that's basically how it went. There for a while, we were doing the load board going over the road, but it wasn't doing too terribly good, and we Lord's been blessing us with more and more customers, so got off of that and basically just hauling rigs around as we can.
Okay, all right. So you said water wells, and so I was under the assumption that you was out there working in the oil wells and oil fields. Do you do
We
any of
do we do a lot of water well, and then we dabble a little bit with oil the oil field equipment too.
that? Okay, all right. Steve, I'm gonna back off the mic in case you got some other questions there, because I got plenty.
Oh, yeah. So are you a one truck operation or do you have multiple trucks with multiple drivers now?
One truck up. Well, I have two trucks. We have 5 different trailer setups, but it's just me driving right now.
Okay, but then you bring in brokers, outside carriers to help you when you're needed,
Yes,
when
sir.
you need it. Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, because you had said something earlier that you was making a trip out to Pennsylvania. Now, are you carrying your well equipment, water well equipment out? Or are you going out to make a pickup to come back?
Going out to make a pickup. Yes, and I believe I'll be hiring another. We have 2 loads out there, and so I will be hiring another truck out for one of the loads, and I'll grab the other one.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay.
All right, Johnny. So my next question is, what do you drive?
Kenworth T660.
T660, and how
Yes,
does
sir.
that feel to drive that 660? That sounds like you got a lot of power there, my brother.
It's a Cummins 550, the power, but yeah, the model is a Kenworth T660 with the studio sleeper. The sleeper is absolutely fantastic if you're going to be traveling with your wife. Get a little extra room there. It's well worth it. Uh, and a lot of these loads that we haul, we do with a stretch RGN. So very many times we are running about 95, sometimes a little over 100 feet long. So it's like I was saying earlier, it helps to have your wife there to read the permit and tell you where to go safely.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I noticed that you got like 3 drive axles on that tractor, right?
There's 2 drive axles. One is a pin-on actually.
Okay.
Got that thing at an auction, and this thing works fantastic.
Okay.
So anytime I need to do heavy haul, I can jump in, put the pin on. Takes a couple of minutes, and then when I need to go and do regular hauling, to where you don't want to be super heavy with a step deck or a flatbed, I can be a regular weight, just like a usual driver.
Okay. All right. So how much on some of that drilling equipment that you haul? I don't even know what you call it, so I ain't gonna try to ask you. But I know it looked heavy. Some of that stuff looks heavy. So what kind of weight are you dealing with there?
Very many times up to 150. The load I have currently on back of my trailer that we got ready today, I am permitted for 172,000.
Wow.
Steve, that don't compare to my little 15,000 and 12,000 I had on my wagons today, does it?
Yeah, I think I had 29 coming back, something like that, and about 27 going up between the two. But Tim's going to chuckle at this. We run automatics. So are you running a 15 or an 18?
I actually have a 13.
13. Okay. See, I almost said a 13, but I thought, nah, he's got that big power. He's probably got 15 or an 18.
Yeah, so far I've always been able to handle everything with my 13. I would like an 18, but as I said earlier, we are slowly upgrading equipment as we can.
Right. Yeah, because don't get me wrong, I enjoy my automatic. I really do, especially if you get in stop and go construction, traffic, whatever.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I do miss my stick. I really do. I miss it.
Excuse me. Yeah, the automatic would definitely come in handy every now and then. Tomorrow's trip is going down to Presidio. I will be rolling slow. Some of the hills I should probably be creeping up at about 10 mile an hour.
Oh, wow.
So anybody behind me, I am sorry, but this is all I can do.
So
Now,
John, go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to ask. You said your wife goes as a navigator. Do you require escorts front and back or anything like that?
That's what I was fixing to ask.
Was it?
It all depends on the size of the load normally, and so it as long as I can keep it a certain height low wise and not too terribly long, I can go without escorts.
Okay.
And Texas is quite lenient compared to some states, so you can get quite heavy and high and wide without actually having to have the escort to where they require it.
Right.
But anytime they do require it, then we got to get them.
Right.
Now on that low deck, how many times have you hung that thing up on a railroad crossing?
I took out one railroad crossing last year. It was not fun. I rammed over it and it took the whole concrete piece out. My trailer went over. It was a mess. I got out, and as I'm walking back to the railroad to call the railroad and tell them that there's a huge chunk of concrete missing, that train comes whizzing past me.
Wow.
I am terrified of trains now.
I would be too. Yeah.
So yeah, it was not a good feeling. Since then, I really watch my railroads even more. Normally you can just zoom over them, but every now and then they'll have a little edge, and it will try to grab it and get you hung up. So these days, I make sure to stop before I get to the railroad, check it, and see if I got enough height. If I don't, a couple of weeks ago, I had to back up, I think about 3 miles.
Yeah.
Back to the interstate.
I seen a video that you put out about that. That's what prompted that question.
Yeah. So that would have been a disaster trying to go over that railroad there.
Right. Well, hey, let's look at one of your TikToks, and then we'll talk about it here in a minute. I don't even think Steve has seen these. Okay, so let's look at one real quick.
Sorry, Steve.
It's all good.
So I'm gonna add it to the stream here.
This we got little mud puddles. I gotta suck this guy up and get back through that. All right, we got her all hooked up. It's a telescoping doghouse with a water tank. There she comes. Get some weight on the truck so I can get through the mud, and then we kick her back off. Alright, so got in the SkyTrack here. Got it strategically placed. We're gonna park the other drop deck on the other side, line the trucks up, and then we're gonna push the front over, and then we'll go to the back, and we'll push the back over. And we got that other trailer loaded. Guys, they're not lined up, but my trailers are. Got them lined up. Gonna get pushed over. Got to make a little adjustment yet, but in order to do that, I'm going to get the other truck out of the way, and we're good to go. Alrighty, all done. Got her lined up decently. Up to the side. Good to go.
All right, so Steve, I'm not even going to ask Johnny a question. I'm going to ask Steve something. What do you think about that, Steve?
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's just now. How much did that piece of equipment weigh?
Let's see, that was 50. I think about 55,000 on its own. So that was a load that I was getting ready actually for another driver that we hired in. So I think he was about 90, 95 when he left the yard.
Wow,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
There you go, boys and girls. That's why trucking moves America forward, right there, right there.
Absolutely. So not only can you drive that truck with that large piece of equipment on, you can actually operate anything else out there. I mean, I noticed you handle that Skylift there like a pro there. So that just comes by working with this all your life.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
I got you. Well, that was pretty interesting to me. And then you had to run it back through the mud there, and it almost looked like you was going to get stuck there at one time. But
just about.
But that was not your truck that you picked it up on. It was another truck, correct?
That's my backup truck.
That's your backup truck. I got you.
Yes, sir.
I got you. All right, Steve.
I bet a truck horse just dreads seeing you come around the corner. You know. I mean, they got to look out there and go, "Oh my Lord,
not him, not him again."
Here we go. Yeah, that's not a 27.95 worst job right there. I can guarantee you that. But
we're very thankful for the mud puddle that we did have. West Texas was so dry this last year, and so now after Hurricane Ian, I forgot his name. Yeah, the bad one over in Florida. After that hurricane came, we've been getting quite a bit of rains, and we're super thankful for it.
Well, speaking of that, of the rain, they've been talking about it today. I listened to it on channel 146 there on satellite on the trucking channel. Mississippi River. I mean, I grew up south of St. Louis, just not too far from the Mississippi River, and the Mississippi River's drying up. You know, it's got islands. They're having trouble with the barges. They're worried about the grain, you know, and all that. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with, like you said, you was proud to see that mud. Oh, yeah. They say there's some rain coming in later on the weekend, first of next week. There's going to be a lot of people on the Mississippi River going to be looking for a lot of rain. I just had to throw that in there. That was the big topic today is how the river's drying up, you know. But yeah. So now where was where was that piece of equipment going to?
It was going down to Mexico. Actually, my dad has quite a few customers south of the border. Mexico's been hit with a water shortage lately, and so they've been buying more and more equipment down there, and we've been supplying. So this year I've made a lot of trips down to the border. So I drop it off over at the border, and some other trucker from the Mexican side takes it over there.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. If you did an offload at the border, or if you actually went down into Mexico and made the full delivery.
No, I'm not going that way.
Okay. Okay.
My Spanish is not good enough for that. I can order food.
I hear you. I haven't
only the important stuff.
Yeah, I haven't run South Texas in about 26 years. So I used to go to the border quite a bit, and we never let our trailers go across. We always bumped up against the dock and moved the freight that way. But I know a lot of trailers come back missing a few things: wheels, tires, lights. So
it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. It all pays. That's a good thing. Now, something like that. You don't have to give me a dollar figure, but permits. I'm sure permits, do they get quite expensive? I've never hauled oversized loads or anything like that. Does permits get expensive?
Oh, most definitely. A couple of weeks ago, another driver and myself went and got a couple of D9 cats from Kansas, and just going through Kansas was not bad. Just going through Oklahoma, it was 50 miles driving through Oklahoma, and it cost us almost $800 just in one permit.
Wow, that's wow. And then that's where the freight rates come in. You've got to allow for that. You got to compensate for that.
Most definitely.
And because what you haul is totally different than just standard freight. So,
most definitely, yes.
Yeah.
And so when a customer calls and says, "Hey, how much can you haul this for?" you have to take into account, well, how much is this state gonna cost just for a permit to drive a couple miles through? And each state is always different, so it can be a little bit difficult to try and get the correct price for the customer.
Right. And you have a lot of restrictions, where you can't run over a certain speed, you can't go through certain cities, certain times.
Yes, sir.
All that. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. All the curfews and everything. You definitely got to watch that permit.
Right. Like I said, I've never hauled any kind of oversized, but I got a lot of buddies that has, and just kind of, asking those questions. There are a lot of restrictions. Some days you can only work 8 hours. Wintertime, daylight hours is a whole lot shorter.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Yeah, so all that takes into play there. Tim looks like he's in deep thought there about something. I don't know what he's doing, but he's cracking me up.
Well, I was actually looking at some of the comments coming in. I'm actually fixing to put one on the. We got a call coming in. Well, he's calling the wrong line here. Hold on just a minute with me. Hey, Danny Smith.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, can you call the other line that's scrolling across the screen there?
Okay.
Yeah, that goes directly into the computer, brother. All right. Bye-bye. Danny's got some questions he's going to ask you when he calls the other line there. Anyway, I will go ahead and put it in there, and then you can elaborate when he calls in the other line there. It says with over width and height loads, how and where do you scale those loads?
Well, scaling the loads, a lot of times I just, if I roll over a scale with a certain amount of weight, I'll check and see how much pressure I have in my airbags, and you can get fairly close like that. And obviously the weigh stations down the road are normally open, and they'll tell you how heavy you are. Sorry if that doesn't answer it correctly.
No, that is fine. And have you ever been stopped and put out of service anything for overweights?
For Oh, actually, I did get stopped one time where they ticketed me. I had to get a new permit due to the fact that I was driving my backup truck. I was permitted correctly on my weights. I actually I was a little over, so I was good to go there. But I was in my backup truck, and I had on the permit I had the VIN number for my primary.
Here
So
it comes.
he gave me a ticket as if I hadn't had any permit at all. So that was a what was it, a $6,000 ticket for a very small paying load.
I got
Wow.
you. I got you.
But I called the courthouse. I explained what happened, and they said you're fine. So they dismissed the whole thing.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, hey, we got a caller on the line. Danny Smith, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, can y'all hear Danny?
Yes, sir.
All right, Danny. We got Johnny Loewen out of West Texas on here with us. You've been following us on the feed there. Danny, what's your question for him?
Well, I think while I was getting the number and dialing in, you probably asked the question, but I was just curious on those heavy loads, how you handle scaling them out. Not like you can just pull up on a cat scale with some of those, right?
You have to split them out on the cat scales. But like I was saying just barely that I on my equipment that I have, I pretty much know how heavy I am when I'm looking at my air gauges on the airbags.
Okay. Do you have that set up on your trailer also, where you
Yes,
can
sir.
check the pressure?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, I have that on my truck. We don't have it on our trailers, and I use it quite often. I didn't think about that. That's good. That's good.
It's nice to have,
I've
huh?
really enjoyed tonight's show. Yeah, yeah. I really enjoy the show tonight. This is bringing something different to the trucking world. Something we don't talk about: the oversize, over length, and stuff like that. A lot of people don't realize what it takes to do that. The permits and like you said, crossing the state line, different problems here or there, and navigating around bridges and railroad crossings and things like that. That's something as freight haulers like we don't really think about.
Yeah, most definitely. But I feel like Tim should have actually got somebody with more authority on the oversize.
Well,
we,
I don't know. Sounds like you've got it figured out.
appreciate that, sir. But yeah, we haven't been in the business that long, so we're learning.
But Johnny,
now, I heard. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Danny.
You said I caught the tail end. You said that you went to Kansas and moved 2 D9 Cat.
Yes, sir.
Did you bring them back to Texas? Was that your move there?
Yes, sir. Yeah, they actually went down to Ironbound over here in Seminole, Texas. It's an auction place. So if you want a D9, it's coming up for auction here at the end of the month.
Well, I was curious, when you hauled those, did they have the blades on them, or did they take the blades off and haul them separate?
Yes, they had the blades on them actually.
Wow, that was how much weight was one of those?
Let's see, they were close to 100 by themselves.
Danny, Danny, can you imagine your Starbucks loads being that much?
Well, for years I hauled a lot of water and paper and things like that. But the weight of the load, around 45 to 45.5. That puts us up, in a dry van and the trucks like I drive. That puts me up 79.5, 79.8. So that's about the max here. I can't imagine hauling those kind of loads. Of course, you have more axles on your truck and your trailer, so
Yes,
that gives you more braking power, and you're not traveling at too great a speed, I assume, when you're hauling that super loads like that. But
no, definitely not.
I was just kind of curious, what kind of tires do you like to run on your truck and trailers when you're carrying those kind of loads? I'm sure you have a preference on what you try to keep certain tires on that you know will perform with that kind of weight?
Yeah. Well, actually, since 2020, you kind of take what you can get these days. I don't have a preference
Well,
anymore really on what I can get. I call my local tire guy and say, hey, well, what do you got? And he normally keeps. Right now, I'm running Toyos on my step deck. I believe my low boy. Actually, the tires are going to need replacing here after a little while, but them I've had on there for a while. So I think those are Bridgestones.
Gotcha. Well, it's very interesting. Very interesting. No 2 days are alike in that world hauling oversized, overweight equipment. It's something different every load, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And it keeps it exciting. It's definitely not mundane.
Well, Dan,
Well,
go
I
ahead.
know you said sometimes you have to have escorts depending on
Yes, sir.
the size of the load and where you're at. Is there like a company that you use? You just call them up and say, I need escorts in this area to do, this length or something. How do you go about getting escorts?
I normally try to stay under that height and not that long to where I don't have to. Like that, I can get the load in and out quicker. But there's not necessarily a certain company that I know of. There's more smaller companies that you can hire. Last one I hired was over in Florida. Came into Florida and had to hire 2 different ones. I ended up getting them over at the scale house, at the DOT scale house. They had little cards there, and they got me the right hookups to get into Florida.
Oh, this is in the Panhandle. I live in the Panhandle. What part of?
Okay. I'm from Seminole, Texas, so I'm a couple, I guess a couple hundred miles south of you, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh,
what?
now wait a minute. We're talking 2 different states here. I was looking at the Panhandle of Florida.
You got
I
me
live
there.
in
Sorry.
Florida, different state. That's
I'm
okay.
not.
All right.
I'm not very bright. You have to be pretty precise with me. So yeah.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem at all.
We dropped off in
Well-
Gainesville at the time when we went to Florida last time. So
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Well-
I'm sure you had a lot of fun coming down I-75 to Gainesville.
I did. Hey, Florida is absolutely beautiful. Oh, I have a hard time looking up front because I'm just like, ooh, palm trees.
That's green.
Yeah.
Used to spend so much greenery from West Texas, are you?
No, we're not used to that. Definitely not.
Well, listen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I've enjoyed
Right
the
back
show
at you, sir.
tonight. You've brought a lot to the show that I think a lot of people had no idea went on in this segment of trucking. So
I appreciate that, sir.
off here, let somebody else get in here. I'll continue listening.
Danny Smith, thank you for calling the show, brother. You are a friend to the show. And before you go, I'm going to tell Johnny a little bit about you, okay? Johnny, Mr. Danny Smith, Mr. Danny Smith. I do this to him every time, but Mr. Danny Smith, he's retiring in February, okay? So
All right.
he's been trucking for 44, 43 years, Danny?
43.
43 years. And he's
You've
never
been at it for a while.
He's never had an accident.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's
That's
definitely
amazing.
so. Danny, you enjoy the rest of the show, man, and get yourself some rest. I know you said you were down there in Wildwood, Florida tonight, so
Yeah.
you take care of yourself, man. And hey, give me a shout tomorrow when you get a chance on the road.
All right, I will. I'm headed to Miami. I'll give you a shout tomorrow. Johnny, good talking to you. Steve, take care. I'll get off here and let somebody else get in there.
We'll see you, Danny.
Good night.
Take care, brother.
All right. Well, Danny is always faithful to the show and calls in and always has good questions. And Danny's a good friend. I just actually look up to Danny because of his years of experience that he has in the industry. So,
Oh yeah.
anyway, well, hey, let's. Here it is, 9:45, and we end the show at 9 o'clock our time, 8 o'clock your time. But let's get into a couple more of these videos, okay?
G'day, guys. So I just got a level 2 inspection in Crosbyton, Texas, and got put out of service. My drag link was too loose, and I kind of knew that it was. Kept saying I get it fixed soon, so today's the date. Today's the date. There she is. Tools. How to get that 3/4 inch Makita impact. Gotta get my sockets on the inside. That's the hood. Other side too. Out with the old, in with the new. 30 minutes. And I'm no mechanic.
All right, Johnny. So not only you said you're no mechanic, but I don't believe it. Steve, how many drag links have you ever changed?
Zero. Zero. I have been fortunate enough to always work for a company that's got a shop. So, and even when I drove for my in-laws for 5 years, I was a semi-owner operator. I just didn't make the payment, but fortunately I didn't really have to do that kind of work. Changed oil, changed tires, stuff like that, but never changed a drag link. If I may, while I got the mic, there's a big topic in the industry. How much trouble we have a parking issue out here. How much trouble do you have finding parking spots with your oversized loads? Heavy loads, oversized, everything else.
That can get pretty difficult sometimes. Thankfully, we normally have to stop before sun's down, so we get a little head start on most guys.
Okay.
But I absolutely use Pilot, the reserve. So I normally reserve my spots beforehand. Every now and then you get into a situation where you reserve the spot and somebody already took it. So then you got to go and find what you can.
Right.
But normally I like to reserve the spot beforehand.
Okay. Yeah. See, I park in the terminal every night, so I don't have to worry about that. Sometimes at my meet point, it might get a little congested. May have to do a quick drop and swap out in the lane, get out of the way, something like that. But, with the parking issue out here in the trucking industry, I was just kind of curious, and I kind of figured you used a reserved parking spot, but like you said, every once in a while you get there and it's been taken up. So, but I was just kind of curious how much trouble it is, especially if you're wide enough, you need 2 spots, something like that.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Every now and then you're too long, which even, my truck's a 660, so it's not a long hood. But normally my hood is sticking out about halfway from others. So I'm always a little worried that I'm going to get hit. Every now and then when I have to stretch my trailer a little further, I will unhook, drop the load in one spot and move over into another to where I won't be impeding while they're trying to get in and out or to where they hit
Right.
me.
that's why your 660 sleeps with one eye open. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, I got that light fixed, by the way.
What just what wheelbase is your 660? What about a 292, 295?
Oh boy, well, what was it? I'm sorry, my brain did not keep that in. I measured it like a year ago, but that's gone.
Nah, it's okay. It's all good. I seen a glimpse of it, and I know you got that tag axle or third axle, whatever. I just wondering what your wheelbase was.
Yes, sir. Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't answer that right now.
It's okay. It's all good.
Well, tell me something, Johnny. What was that right at the end of that video? You had something in your hand there that was red, and you laughed about it. What was that?
Oh, that was my toolbox. I was picking it up, and as I picked it up, the handle just came with, and everything else dropped to the ground. So, yeah, you gotta laugh at yourself every now and then.
You gotta, hey, why not? If you can't laugh at yourself, you shouldn't laugh at all, right?
Exactly.
Let me play this last one, and then I got some slides we want to run through real quick, like some pictures that you sent me here, and we'll just run through those real quick. But I want to play this last video, okay?
Sitting at the case dealer today. I am going to haul my first tractor. Woo! Finally, I get to be like normal people. Here it comes. Oh yeah. All right, I guys got the tractor loaded. It's looking good. But I'm guessing I hit something down the road because I checked one of my tires. Put it back on its speed and it has a huge hole. So, well, my wrench wasn't strong enough this time for these wheels. So, went to a tire guy, get a new one. Chow chow from Subway. And I hit the road. Alrighty, rolling in on 13 feet wide. What we say, here we come. Think skinny, think skinny. Alright, ladies and gents, I have never driven a Ford tractor before. Articulating. Woohoo! Right. She works good. If I know how to use it, which I don't really. Well, that was fun. And cleanup process.
All right. So I grew up on a farm, and I've drove tractors all my life, but I've never driven anyone that magnitude.
It was fun.
I can imagine. So when you're rolling down the road and you got those tires hanging off the side like that, and I noticed you were saying, "Think skinny, think skinny." How is that? I mean, is that a big problem, especially coming in construction zone? I know that's a big problem, but have you ever gotten to a situation to where you had to do something different?
So far, I haven't. And like I said, that was my first tractor I've hauled. Most of my equipment, the oil field pulling units or water well drilling rigs, they normally top out about 10 to 11 feet wide. So I don't do too terribly much wide. Every now and then I do get wide mud pumps, but yeah, that's not an everyday thing for me.
I got you. Steve, you got anything that you want to ask before I put the slides up there?
No, I was getting a tickle out of think skinny. You got to have, your permit might tell you everything's fine, but then you got this pop-up construction,
Yep,
and all of a sudden
exactly.
you come up to something and you're, like you said, you're 12, 13 foot wide and it says maximum width 10 foot wide. What do you do? Do you try to find an alternate route? I mean, do you get with the construction crew and say, hey, you got to move the barrels, or how's that work?
I've seen some companies where they will get with the construction crew and they'll move the stuff for you, or You can even get with the local police department, and they'll work with you normally.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So as you can see, I got on the screen up here. I got your this is not the truck that you normally drive, is it?
No, that's my backup one.
It's your backup. What are you hauling there, Johnny?
That B oil field housing right there.
How wide was that, brother?
Oh, I think that one was it 14? I think 14 wide.
Wow, Tim, boy, I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine.
It was a short haul, but this is what I like hauling. I like doing rigs.
Okay, yeah. So is this one of the water well rigs here?
Yes, sir. It used to be an oil field pulling unit, and it got turned into a water well drilling due to the fact that they do very deep water well drilling out in Mexico.
Okay, so you can use an oil well driller for water wells, huh?
We convert them over here to make them like that.
Okay, all right.
And can you go back to that last slide?
Yep.
You'll normally know it's me when you're driving down the road and you look at those mud flaps that say Jesus saves, because he does.
I see it right there. Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I actually didn't see it until you pointed it out just then. All right. Now, what are we looking at here?
This is another water well rig that went from West Texas to Arizona about 2-3 months ago.
Okay. All right. And that is the same
House. Yes.
Same house. All right. Is this another water well rig here?
Yes, sir. Actually, no. That one, I believe they left as a pulling unit.
Okay. Now, what is that?
Basically, it's to pull the pump out for the oil well.
Okay.
Pull it out or put it back in.
I got you. See, we don't see all this kind of stuff around Georgia, So I don't know, Steve. You don't see it up there around Ohio either, do you?
No, not really. Not really.
Now I'm going to stop right here. Steve's reaction. Look at this.
I like it.
That's beautiful, ain't it?
I like it.
So
Yes,
this
sir.
was a beautiful rig that I got to haul from Amarillo, Texas, down to Dallas a little while back, and I missed my turn due to the sign was not where it needed to be. I get past the highway. I'm like, oh boy, this is not good, and I can't back up due to my articulating steering back there. So I tried to go through a turn and got stuck. I got hung up over the highway, and I had both lanes completely blocked off.
Oh,
Wow. So
Absolutely embarrassing. Thankfully, nobody got hurt. First thing I did, call the cops. Hey, I need help. Y'all need to come over here. They came over there. They were wonderful. And there was 2 other truck drivers that got out of their trucks and just came out and helped in a huge way. Took about 20 minutes, got that thing back up and running again.
Oh, that's absolutely awesome. I was just wondering, how did you get it turned around?
Through the median. There was a turnaround there, but it had too much of a dip, and I only had about 3-4 inches of clearance on bottom, and it hung up. So, that load weighed about close to 150,000 is what we were weighing, and it got stuck. We had to unhook, put new shims under the neck, and be able to lift it up higher again with my airbags completely extended. And like I said, a couple of truck drivers hopped out of their trucks. They were stuck waiting there. And I got to say, I love the brotherhood that we have with truck driving. They came out and they helped me till we were back up and running again.
Absolutely. All right. This is your show truck?
We got her polished up this last year, and we got the W on the aerodynamics class. We had an awesome truck show here this last year, and I'm super glad to take the win.
Nice. Congratulations.
That's the price you pay for polishing wheels.
Exactly.
Hey, so it paid off, correct?
It did.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Johnny, I tell you what, man, it's been a great show. We're here at 8:57, and I do appreciate you coming on. And we appreciate your story. We appreciate what you do. And like Danny said, you bring another dynamic to what we try to talk about every week. and we just try to get the message out there. We want to hear the stories of truck drivers, how they got into the industry, and what they do. So I do want to say thank you for coming on the show, and tell your bride we appreciate her giving up 1 hour of y'all's time tonight to be on the show.
Well, thank you guys so much. I was tickled pink when you called, Tim. So I've been excited all week.
Yeah, and hopefully, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. If y'all are on TikTok, y'all go follow Johnny Trucker out there, and he's got a
Trucker Johnny.
Trucker Johnny.
Yeah.
And,
Trucker Johnny.
and the Johnny has a capital O in it.
Yeah, it's a zero. That's the only way the word worked.
A zero. Okay, I got you. Hey, I do have one last comment here. Somebody brought it. I can't tell who it is. They didn't put their name with it. But have you ever done windmill equipment?
I have not. I'd love to play around with that one day, but I haven't yet.
I got you. All right, Steve, I'm going to let you get your last question in, and we're going to close the show out. Normally we have a rant of the day, but Steve don't have a rant today.
Nah, we ain't got no rant. No, Johnny, thank you very much. God bless you and your wife.
Sir, he does every day.
Congratulations on the miracle child. Keep us informed. Come back on the show, but be safe out there. Thanks for everything you do. Thanks for giving us an insight to oversized and heavy type equipment.
Of course. Thank you, gentlemen.
God bless you, brother. Appreciate it.
God bless.
All right, Johnny, if you will just hang tight with us, after we go off air, we'll talk on the other side of it. Just hang tight with us. We're going to close the show out, okay?
All righty.
All right.
I believe in God our Father. I believe in Christ the Son.